Right now on Sports Extra, the Falcons are joining the rest of us on the couch. For the 7th straight year, the Dirty Birds have missed the playoffs, and for the 7th straight year, we're asking what went wrong and where do they go from here. Meanwhile, it was a sour sugar bowl for the Bulldogs, how the Fighting Irish were able to shut down Georgia's quest for a 3rd title in the last 4 years. Also, it's been a rough trip out west for the Hawks. How can the Hawks salvage this trip with a couple of wins? We got no playoff football, but we'll try to keep the vibes high. Got the gang with me, and Sports Extra starts right now. Welcome to Sports Extra, everybody. I'm Reggie Chatman here bringing you the first Sports Extra of 2025. Wish we were coming on and getting you ready for a playoff game, but yet once again, the Falcons missed the playoffs and the end wasn't pretty at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Granted, the Falcons did need some help today that they didn't get. Allow me to direct your attention to this. The Falcons, they needed to control what they could control, and they just really didn't do their part in this one. Another overtime loss, this time to the Panthers, who scored the most points they've scored since 2017. And that pretty much sums up how the second half of the season went for the Dirty Birds. They lost 6 of their last 8 and now face a long off season.
Hats off to the Carolina Panthers and their offensive scheme and what they was able to do today. And you got to give those guys credit where credit is due. Special teams wise, we held up, did what we were supposed to do, but we did not come out to play today on defense, and they got us in the show. When you got a young quarterback like that, man, you're cooking with gas, and that's what fires me up. Despite how angry I am or pissed off right now, when you look at number 9, he gives us the best chance to win football games moving forward.
Oh boy, so much to discuss in this one because there was some good and there was plenty of bad, not just in this game, but the entire season. Matt Stewart and Gabe Burns both joined me. A disappointing end to a disappointing season where they dropped 6 of their last 8. Gabe, my question is just, it's simple, but it needs maybe a complex answer. Where did it all go wrong for this team that started so well and now finds himself out of the playoffs?
Well, the two things that everyone's going to point to, one, this defense was nowhere close to good enough. This was a soft unit, didn't have enough talent, was not well coached, didn't play well enough. And then, of course, Kirk Cousins. They've taken care of Kirk Cousins. He's going to be on a different team or retired next year. You've got your young franchise quarterback now. There needs to be a lot done to this defense this offseason. This is just, look, all of this, they ended up with one more win than they had been getting, all those 7-win seasons. It was just nowhere close to good enough. There's going to be a lot of heavy lifting done defensively this offseason.
There's going to be a lot of questions. Of course, a lot of them are on social media and around this team. And the question, of course, for a lot of people is who deserves the blame in this? A lot of it went to Raheem. People are talking about Terry Fano, if he should come back. Who do you believe deserves the most blame in what has been a second half collapse?
Well, quite frankly, I believe it's Arthur Blank and Rich McKay. They're the guys at the top of the ladder that keep making the same decisions. And I'm not ready to throw Raheem Morris out the door. He got one season. He gets more than that. He made some mistakes. People make mistakes. Was it his greatest effort? I hope it wasn't his greatest. I hope it was his worst effort. He's going to come back in the next couple of years and prove us wrong here. But they all do. But I think you got to start at the top of the chain with this Falcons organization because it's not just this season.
Yeah.
It's 7 straight seasons. And it's a history of it. Ever since Arthur Blank, I think they've had 2 winning seasons in the last 12 years. So there's a long history of failure here.
Well, it's interesting because when you look at this team, right, the Falcons and, of course, the Panthers. One team, the Panthers, started off really, really bad, and they seem to be on an upward trajectory the back half of the season. Meanwhile, the Falcons started really good, and it was all downhill from there. They're feeling a lot better, the Panthers are, at the end of this year than the Falcons are, despite finishing with a better record because Bryce Young decided to play. He looked like Tom Brady and the Patriots in this one. 251 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing, led the game-winning drive in overtime. You already mentioned that defense. Matt, how surprised were you with how badly they played in a moment that they had to play well?
It's shocking that the defense was shredded for over 530 yards by a quarterback who got benched early in this season. They were even talking in Carolina of like, we're going to trade this guy or just get rid of him altogether. They felt he was that big of a bust. And here in week 17, he torched the Falcons defense.
He looked really, really good. And you mentioned there's a lot of that conversation coming into this week. They asked, what has been the biggest change? He just looks more comfortable. They're getting the ball out a little bit quicker for him. And also, he's just using his legs more. He did score those 2 rushing touchdowns, which proves that they're doing exactly what they wanted him to do. Meanwhile, for the Falcons, they've got a young quarterback running the show as well. Michael Penix, another start for him. And this one in front of the home fans, and he gave you a lot of stuff to really, really like. 312 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He did have that interception that, once again, wasn't his fault. Gabe, what is the biggest takeaway of what you saw from Michael Penix in this start today?
Let me tell you, the ball explodes out of this guy's
Goodness
hand,
gracious.
doesn't it? I mean, you can see the talent. I mean, you can see like the intangibles. When we had seen those even before he was playing. I mean, there was a lot of buzz around him. This is a reason to be excited. Look, like this is a disastrous end of the season. I mean, this really stinks for the Falcons and their fans, obviously. But it's kind of just like with Carolina. When you have that guy, and that guy is that young, and he looks the way he does. Now, the Panthers have their defense is just absolutely atrocious. They've given up more points than any team in NFL history. So, to be fair, we do have to look at that as a caveat. But generally speaking, when you look at the physical tools, the way he carries himself, no reason to be anything but encouraged by Michael.
I love Michael Penix. I loved him when I saw him at Washington State. Loved him when he took his team to the national championship game last year. I was excited when the Falcons drafted him in the first round. I thought all the experts were crazy talking about the Falcons had reached, and as it turns out, they didn't. He's a great quarterback. The question I ask about Michael Penix is this. Falcons coaches, Raheem Morrison, all of them, they're at practice every day, right?
Every day.
How is it that they waited so long to pull the trigger on him when Cousins had thrown one touchdown pass and thrown 9 interceptions? How could they possibly think that Cousins, that Penix was not better than that Cousins? They saw him every day in practice. That's what I want to know.
I want to know that too, and I think that is the biggest question that a lot of fans at home say. Like, you wonder how the season could have looked differently if they decided to make that move just a little bit earlier. Meanwhile, the guys that he's throwing to played really well today, specifically Drake London. 10 receptions, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now that we've seen them on the field together, Gabe, is it too early to be talking about them as one of the better duos in the entire sport? Of course, you got Joe and Jamar and these other duos, but these two, young and look like they can grow together.
Well, the young that's really important. They're going to grow together. This is not either one of their peaks. So you really have something to build around offensively, and this is what you're looking for. You spend a premium pick on a receiver, you spend a premium pick on a running back, you spend a premium pick on a quarterback. These players look like what you're expecting. They're what you're looking for, and so once again, for as absolute a disaster as this defense is, should be really excited offensively.
Credit to West Durham. This is a working combination, 9 to 5 working combination right there. But Drake London made a huge jump this year, 100 catches, had a huge day today, made a great leap in his 3rd season. Can't say enough great things about Drake London.
I mean, he finished with over 1,000 yards receiving, 100 receptions, like you mentioned. That is the same amount as Justin Jefferson, and most people would say he might be the best or the second best wide receiver in the entire sport. Meanwhile, Bijan Robinson, is it time we start talking about him in the same conversations as the Saquon Barkleys and the Derrick Henrys? He has been incredible this season. He came behind them in both all-purpose yards and in rushing yards. At what point, and is it going to take winning for people to start realizing that he's on that same level as these other guys, man?
Had 300 carries this season, over 1,400 yards, had I think 60-something catches. He does it all, and this is one of these rare things. Falcons had a great draft pick and used it on Bijan Robinson, and it panned out. Doesn't often happen with the top 10 quarterbacks. And, maybe I'm being a little too strong there because Penix was also a top 10, and I think he's going to pan out. But love Robinson. It's been great that they've been able to get him, and he had a great season. My only concern is we're now 2 seasons in. Running backs' shelf lives are how long?
I mean,
literally.
But
I know it's only been 2 years, but literally, you don't have a long shelf life with running backs. You need to hit on them and take advantage of them while they're good.
Well, but you say that, but you look at the guys like both Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. They thought that Derrick Henry was done for, right? And that's the reason a lot of teams didn't go after him. Same thing with Saquon. I mean, maybe they were like, oh, we don't have to pay him that much money. He's getting a little bit older, but he's still the guy. And it's incredible that he's been playing this well this season, and he's going to definitely get MVP votes and absolutely deserves them. All right, before we keep rolling here, we do have to talk back on Raheem Morris again, right? 8-9 this season. Did he prove to you enough that he should be the guy going forward? Where can he grow as a coach as well?
Well, he certainly needs to grow. I'll say I definitely wouldn't fire him. I think that's anyone who says that's way jumping the gun. That's crazy. He has not proven to me, though, that he's going to be your answer at head coach. There's nothing, frankly, there's just nothing about this team. I look at this and feel good. Like, moving forward, this is going to be a annual contender right now. And we talk about clock management. Obviously, there was a big gaffe that everybody saw there last week. So he's going to grow. Again, obviously his players love him. We'll see culturally where this thing goes. So I would just say it's kind of kind of a C-grade job in his debut season. I'm not sold, but certainly he's going to get.
I would agree with that grade.
Yeah.
It certainly is way too easy, too early to be talking about firing anybody after he went 8-9 his first season. I had my reservations about him when they hired him, just based on his record. I hate any time you hire a coach and you have to explain away his record. Well, he's got a losing record because of this. I hate that. That's a bad place to start. But I gave way to players who had played with him in the past and spoke so highly of him. I say, look, I'm not an NFL player. They are. If they speak highly of him, I'll take their word for it. But right now, I agree with you. It's a C. It's an average.
Average, and you take it. I mean, you have to take it at the end of the day. This is what this team is at the moment, but this team can grow. They're young, and he is also a younger coach at the end of the day. So if he can continue to grow and get better, then maybe this team can take it to the next level. All right, coming up, there will be no third title in 4 years for the Georgia Bulldogs. How Georgia struggled against the Irish in the Sugar Bowl. We got that coming up next. All right, welcome back to Sports Extra, everybody. Head coach Kirby Smart has built a program that has fans feeling like if it's national championship or bust. And by those rules, this season was a bust as they lost 23-10 in the college football playoff in the Sugar Bowl. The Dogs finished the season 11-3. Matt and Gabe still alongside me. And guys, there's plenty of teams that will take a season like this as a bust every single year. 11 wins, a couple of dubs over Texas, that road win to get it done on number one team. And they did win the SEC title at the end of the day. You take that as a win every single day of the week. Now, lots went wrong for the Dogs in that loss against the Irish, but I would argue that really none of it had to do with the play of their backup quarterback who's making his first start in his career. What are your thoughts on Gunnar Stockton, how he played and how he showed himself on a stage like this?
Yeah, it says a lot that they didn't lose this game because of Gunnar. Gunnar did a pretty nice job. I mean, they basically lost this game in the span of a couple of minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was, and you have to give Marcus Freeman deserves a world of credit for what he's done there. I mean, look, Brian Kelly left. They knew they didn't feel like they could get the players. Sorry to bring that up.
All right.
LSU guy here. But he's got the players. He's got excellent coordinators. This is not Notre Dame of the last really 2 decades. They showed up. This is a huge win for that program. Again, this was not the Georgia team. For all that Kirby did, he did a nice coaching job throughout the season. This was not talent-wise some of the teams he's had in the past.
One of the couple issues that this team had was drops. They led the country in drops. Dylan Bell had one in this game. Aaron Smith was a guy that had problems all over this season dropping the football. Is that something that you can fix? Is that coaching? Is that guys? Like, how did that happen this season?
The Jugs machine.
You know they have them.
You know they have them. No, I'm just joking. Well, that's a start. But they're going to go out and get players. In fact, they just got a commitment late this evening from Zachariah Branch.
Incredible player.
A 5-star wide receiver in high school who's been at Southern Cal, had like 47 catches this past year. So that's where they're going to have to start. Player acquisition. I think Georgia fans got spoiled with the Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkeys, the sure-handed wide receivers. It was shocking, though, to see the drops that Georgia had this year. Really kind of inexplicable with the talent that they have.
I think you're right. I think people just were like, oh, these two guys are very good. Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey. You see what they're doing in the NFL. I even tweeted today, are we sure that Brock Bowers is not the best tight end in all of football at this point? He's been unbelievable, breaking the rookie receiving yards record and the rookie receiving receptions record. He's insane. But meanwhile, back to the Dogs. So the defense, it didn't play super well stopping the run. 154 yards rushing. Ranked 33rd in the country in rush yards allowed at the end of this season. And I'll go back to you. How much of this was on that personnel? How much was it on the play calling maybe, or just maybe execution?
I thought they did well enough to win in the Notre Dame game defensively. They held the Irish to 230-something yards. You mentioned the rush totals. Most of it was Riley Leonard, the quarterback, taking off and running. Not a whole lot of the traditional run game, for whatever it's worth. But I thought they played well enough to win, as you pointed out. The game swung in a 2-minute span at the end of the first half, and the kickoff return to start the second half. So, defensively, I had no problems with Georgia in the Notre Dame game.
A lot of issues stopping running quarterbacks this season, though, Gabe. Where does that kind of come from?
I mean, honestly, that happened to Kirby at Alabama. You can go way back to Johnny Manziel, right? I mean, sometimes these guys, it can just be hard to stop these guys. I'll say this: Kirby was certainly they were outcoached. Okay, we can all say that. And Kirby was outcoached at moments this year. You look at the Ole Miss game. But generally speaking, Georgia won the SEC and got where they were because they did not slip up against inferior opponents. whereas some of the other teams that they were competing with did. So I think they do deserve a lot of credit for that.
This Notre Dame game was very similar to that Ole Miss game that you just referenced, in that Georgia got dominated at the line of scrimmage. I've never seen the Georgia offensive line, certainly not in recent history, play as badly as they did.
It's crazy to see, especially on a stage like this where people just expect them to overpower teams, especially teams like Notre Dame that in the past you're looking at against the big dogs where they can't compete. Look, there's so much to unpack from this season. And for more, we send things out to New Orleans with Maria Martin and our UGA insider, Ronnie Nabulsi.
Definitely not the ending that we would have liked for the Georgia Bulldogs, but it does end in New Orleans. I don't even know what the bright side is to this one, Roddy. Our UGA insider, Roddy Nabulsi, here with me. And the Georgia Bulldogs, they beat themselves in this one in the Sugar Bowl. What do you think happened in this one?
Well, Kirby said it himself. You gifted them 14 points. Yeah. You have a kick return for a touchdown, which Georgia hasn't done many, many years. And you're trying to be aggressive. You're down 3-6. You know that you're going to have to kick the ball to them. They try to go with their 2-minute offense, and you get a sack strip, and 13 feet later, they're in the end zone. So you gave them 17 points in 54 seconds. Just gifts. Absolute gifts. So, and Kirby said it over again and again. He's like, it was the turnovers, guys. It was the turnovers. And he's right. It was absolutely the turnovers. They did not help themselves dropping passes.
Yep.
Jumping off sides. The illegal procedure penalties from your veteran guys was very surprising. They missed a few tackles.
Yeah.
And they couldn't run the ball. That's been their multiple Achilles heels all year long. They can do it usually good enough, but they just kind of ran out of luck because you had those same problems against Texas. You had the same problems against Georgia Tech, Kentucky, other teams, and they didn't bite you. Notre Dame's just a better football team, and all those same problems that Georgia, like you said, they beat themselves. It just wasn't enough to overcome a very aggressive Notre Dame team.
Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman perhaps playing the perfect game in the Sugar Bowl to get past Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs. You mentioned something that Kirby Smart was talking about, being aggressive. Perhaps you needed to do that when you have a quarterback who, although had no experience in starting a football game, it's a college football quarterfinal in the playoffs. He needed to be aggressive, but that didn't really work out. What did you think about Gunner's performance, though?
I thought Gunner played a very good game.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I was worried about turnovers more than anything else. I was worried about him having nerves. He didn't. I mean, he threw the ball deep. He made the right reads. He got them out of a couple bad plays, made a couple plays with his legs. But he just got no help. I mean, you can't let your quarterback be teed off on for multiple sacks. I mean, in the first half, there were 6 tackles for loss.
Yep.
Georgia had 1. Georgia had 25 against Texas, and then we had 1 in the first half against them. So Gunner Stockton needed some help around him. You can't drop passes. There are plenty of those. You can't have illegal procedures, backing yourselves up. There's a couple of those. And then you have a situation where he's getting drilled. A run game would be nice for a quarterback making his first start. And Georgia.
We talked about needing to do that. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. So Gunner played as good as he could. I think he's your quarterback of the future.
I love that, and everyone seems to be really confident in Gunner Stockton. We're not confident in the Bulldogs from here on out because their season is over. 11-3, we haven't seen that from a Bulldogs team in a while. We're going to say goodbye to the senior class who was very special, but this was an interesting season, one that the players said showed a lot of resilience. They tried to show that here at the Sugar Bowl, but ultimately Notre Dame the better team. For Roddy Nabulsi, I'm Maria Martin.
Awesome stuff from New Orleans, guys. Thank you very much. All right, meanwhile, the Branch brothers have reportedly transferred to Georgia. The future is bright for this Georgia Bulldog team. You've got a new quarterback in Gunner Stockton who, after making this one start, is now probably going to be the guy. I'm going to ask both of you guys, what can we expect in 2025? And is the championship window for this team still open?
Oh, it's absolutely open. And you're going to look at this. They're going to get Texas at home. They're going to get Alabama at home. So they get some of those big matchups they had on the road. You look around, the SEC is going to be better. You've got some of these teams like South Carolina and Florida that I think are going to be, in the playoff mix. Yeah. So you're looking at that. But again, the floor for this program is so high. And we know what their ceiling can be as well. Outside of Texas with Arch, I just don't see a clear absolute like this team is like on that same level.
Well, even if things are kind of changing, we were talking about it during the break. The talent is now spread all around the country now. Is Georgia still going to be a big dog when it comes to the national championship chases next
They'll
season?
still be a big dog. They should still be able to make a 12-team playoff every year. But the days of Georgia and Alabama just dominating the landscape like they have, going back to 2017, 2018, Alabama even further than that, those days are over because they're paying players now, so the talent spreads out. about. The transfer portal's wide open. You can transfer wherever you want to. Case in point, Zachariah Branch, who we talked about, is going from Southern Cal right to Georgia. So the days of two teams dominating, that's over.
Yep, things have definitely changed. All right, before we go, we want to take a moment to address multiple losses in New Orleans this week. Sonny Smart, Kirby's dad, passed away Saturday morning. Complications following hip surgery. He fractured his hip in the fall on New Year's Eve while in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. Sonny was a longtime high school football coach and was a constant presence in his son's games. Sonny Smart was 76 years old. And of course, remember those who senselessly lost their lives early New Year's Day in the terror attack on Bourbon Street. 14 innocent lives lost, more than 30 people injured, and countless others dealing with the mental trauma of it all. We continue to think of the city of New Orleans and the people affected by this terrible tragedy. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Sports Extra, everybody. I'm thankful that you guys are up late because if you're a Hawks fan, you're used to these late nights considering the Hawks have been on the West Coast. They've lost their last 3 on this road trip. Last week I said the Hawks were back. Now I think it's over. It's probably somewhere in between. Matt, where do the issues lie?
I don't think it's over, but the West Coast trips, the news gets buried, but they've been very disappointed. They've been smoked by the Nuggets, the Lakers, and then the Clippers. And they still got the Suns and they still got the Jazz to go. So it's been very disappointing because they were in the 5 spot when they headed out there. Now they're back in the 7 spot and they're 500 again.
Back at 500, 18-18. Where are the issues lie, Gabe?
You know, I still have faith in them, man.
You should.
Like, even going out, struggling out west. Okay, you know, I look at this team. I look at the way it's constructed. This is easily the most fun, really, since that playoff run that we've had watching them. And look around the East. Like, I still think this team is capable of getting a top 6.
Look, man, and look, like you said, they're fun. You got some young talent as well, and Trae Young, if he can work his way back from injury, I think this team can be very viable going forward. All right, coming up, we wrap things up with our video of the week featuring some bowl season fun, proving college football, in my opinion, I'm sure yours as well, is the best sport on the entire planet. All right, welcome back. Final block. It's our video of the week, and college football is the best for things like this. PJ Fleck gets doused with mayo after Minnesota wins the Mayo Bowl.
Gag reflex, man. That is vomitrocious right there. All that. I can't stand mayonnaise, but you dump it on someone's head. Give me the Pop-Tarts bowl any day of the week.
I don't even blame you for that. That's the best bowl by far, and I would love to eat one of those Pop-Tarts. Meanwhile, kids were racing a golden retriever in the Bahamas Bowl, and anything goes, Gabe. College football's awesome.
It really is. Everything with dogs is great. But you know what? The Pop-Tart mayo, I mean, this is what bowl season should be all about for these non-playoff games.
Make it fun because it's the best sport on earth, and you guys are the best guests we've ever had. Appreciate you guys for coming on
this year.
The show.
The best in 2025, no doubt.
Awesome stuff. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week.